Half of South Africa's registered voters believe that the leader of a political party that governs the country should be black. This is according to data from a poll published last week by the Social Research Foundation. I'm joined now by Gabriel Makin, who's the associate at the Social Research Foundation. Gabriel, thank you for making time for us this afternoon. So the respondents in this poll were asked whether they agreed that the leader of the party governing the country should be black. Just give us a breakdown in terms of percentages on how they responded to that question.
So if we're looking at the whole of the respondents, we had 43.6% strongly agreed with the idea that a political party must have a black leader to be a success. 6.1% somewhat agreed. And on the other side, 34.7% strongly disagreed, and 13.6% somewhat disagreed. So it's almost a 50-50 split, with the difference being made up of some I don't knows or refusing to respond.
And these respondents are across the political divide, or most of those who agreed support certain parties?
So if we break the data further down, you'll see that the parties that have the party that has the strongest preference for black leadership is the ANC, in which 59% of ANC supporters strongly agreed with the statement and 5% somewhat agreed with the statement. So bringing it up to about a 65-35 split within the ANC, and similarly black voters showed 59% once again strongly agreed with the statement, and 6% somewhat agreed. And the difference then is that the other parties, for the most part, and other races, for the most part, disagreed more than they agreed with the statement.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of income groups, what is the data telling you?
So in terms of income groups, the data seems to show that as respondents got richer, they became more averse to the idea that a political party needed a black leader to be successful. So the bottom four, so that's below 2,000 Rand, between 2,000 and 3,000 Rand, between 3,000 and 5,000 Rand, between 5,000 and 8,000 Rand a month, all those groups showed a majority preference for black leadership. And then on the other hand, groups ranging from 8,000 to 12,000, 12,000 to 20,000, and 20,000 and above Rand a month showed a stronger preference that they didn't need a black leader to be successful, they believed.
Did you ask them for reasons why, or did you just ask them the question, Gabriel? I'm trying to understand the reason why most of those respondents believe that a leader of a party governing the country should be black, and perhaps what the reasons are to that.
So we didn't ask follow-up questions to this specifically, but to give an idea why our kind of best guess, because obviously we cannot say for certain, our data doesn't contain the answers to your question exactly, but a way that we like to think about how this question might be answered is if we take some of the other questions from our poll, including questions on stuff like BEE, what tends to happen is that the data breaks down very strongly according to political party lines. So for the most part, there seems to be a reflection that the voting public of a political party will generally tend to believe what the political party puts out there. And obviously the ANC has for decades now embodied the preference for hiring and putting people in positions based on race. And that is reflective then in their voters' preference for black leadership, I would say.
Yeah. What do you think these results, Gabriel, tell us about our politics, particularly identity politics?
I think what these results actually might indicate, surprisingly, although for the most part there is a majority that do want to see black leaders put in place, it seems as though that idea is kind of breaking down. You know, the fact that it's still more than a third of ANC voters don't accept the idea that a party needs a black leader to be successful would indicate that the idea that the strong ideas of identity politics are starting to be eroded, because they're realizing that there's probably much more significant factors to the success of a politician than just their aesthetic value. You know, it shouldn't matter what race a politician is, given that seems to have no bearing on their ability to do the job, you know. And so I would say that this data suggests that for the most part there is a moderate sentiment that indicates that people are not averse to the idea of non-black leadership for the most part, and they are seeing less and less value in the aesthetics of their leadership.
Yeah. What were you trying to understand as an organization when you conducted this research?
So what we are fundamentally trying to understand is the voter sentiment in the country at the moment. We want to know what's motivating voters, what values they hold, and what it is that they're going to look for when they go to the polls. And in terms of that, we ask a huge variety of buckets of questions that all taken together kind of give us an idea of what the average voter in South Africa looks like and thinks, so that we can say to the media, to South Africa, this is what we believe most people want, and this is maybe a way that we can get there.
Yeah. Gabriel Makin, Associate at the Social Research Foundation, thank you for making time.